Son of Christ, I Isupk headquarters Sabbath service has officially begun. Shabbat. La Yasharala, which means to Israel. Shabbat again. Men and women of Israel, and if you're watching at home, and Majam, which means to stand. So upon Yahakwadam, which means turn and face the east. We are going to recite the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Padash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakovka, Taba'ah, Rafizaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Hawa, Hayah, Hashemayim, Nathanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawawafyanawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawawafyanawa, Wala'ah, Tabayainawa, Balasaiwan, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'ataparaf, La'aiwalamyam, Amen. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakam, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barak, Babakashah, the thunder nawa, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kamakala, the Kamadawa, Hakak, Lata'ah, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, Lahakwayam, Hamakiam, Hakak, Arakaraf, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Tawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ahahoyam. Mahayan. Yaba'ah. Isaiah. Isaiah Ma'ayin. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayam. Arataza. Alyatan. Lamawat. Wagalka. Al Yanawam. Shamarka. Hanala'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashan. Shalmar. Yasharala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazarka. Ayad. Yamyanka. Yawamam. Hashamash. La'ah. Yakaka. Rayarak. Balayallah. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Makar Rai. Yashamar. Afna Pashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'afka. Wabawa'aka. Ma'aita. Wa'ait Iwalam. In the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence comes my
My
help?
help cometh from Yahweh,
My help comes from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
who made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer my foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth
will
thee
not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth
he
Israel
that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh will not shade from my right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite me by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve our
Yahweh
soul.
shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh will preserve thy going out
and thy coming in,
and thy coming in.
from this time forth
From this time forward,
and even forevermore.
for you forevermore.
Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Al-Hayam,
I hire.
Al-Damayalaka,
I come in your car.
Al-Takarash,
I took a rush.
wa Al-Tashakwat,
Well, I dash a quat.
Ah, Hayahana,
Kanana.
Hawayabyaka,
Hayamuka.
Yahama Yawan,
Yahama Yawan.
Wamashanayaka,
Wamashayamaka.
Nasha'awa,
Nasha'awa.
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash.
Al-Aimaka,
Amuka.
Ya'ira Yamwa,
The island Yama.
Sawa,
Sawa.
Waya,
Waya.
Tayaita Zawa,
Waya Tazadana.
Al-Tazapawanyaka,
I Tazawamka.
Amawa,
Amara.
Lakawa,
Nakawa.
Wanakakida,
Lakakia.
Magoya,
Magoya.
Wala'a,
Wawa.
Yazakar,
Yazgar.
Shamya Sharala,
Shamya Sha'aw.
Aiwa,
Iwa.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Nawaita Zawa,
Waya Tazawa.
La,
La.
Yakabia,
Nakawa.
Ayaka,
Ayaka.
Bara'af,
Wawa.
Yakawafo,
Nagarafa.
Ahoya,
Ahoy.
Adawam,
Ayawam.
Waya Shamai Layam,
Maya Shawai Shawam.
Waya
Waya.
Shamai Layam,
Shamai Mayam.
Mawa'aba,
Mababa.
Wahagoyam,
Wagoya.
Gabal,
Gabal.
Wa'aimawan,
Wa'ayam.
Wa'aimalak,
Ma'amala.
Halashah,
Aisha.
Anya Shabia,
Anya Shabi.
Tazawar,
Tazawar.
Gum Ashawu,
God Ashawo.
Nalawa,
Nawa.
Aiman,
Aman.
Hayawa,
Hayawa.
Zawawai,
Zarawa.
Nabanya Lawat,
Nabanyan Yawa.
Salah,
Salah.
Aisha Laham,
Ashayaham.
Kamadia,
Kamayo.
Kasaya Sara'ah,
Kasayam Shabaha.
Kayabiam,
Kayami.
Banakal,
Mayaka.
Kwayashwan,
Kwawashmi.
Nashamadwa,
Nashamadu.
Bayan the Arab,
Bayan Iron.
Hayawa,
Hayawa.
Daman,
Daman.
La Adama,
The Iron.
Shayatamwa,
Salatamu.
Nadayabmawa,
Nabayagawa.
Ka'ira,
Kavara.
Wakaza Abba,
Wakazahaba.
Wakaza Bak,
Wakazabak.
Wakata Zalmanai,
Wakazamana.
Kalnasayakamwa,
Kamnasma Kamu.
Ashar,
Ashar.
Amara,
Amara.
Nayara Shah,
Manaya Shah.
Lanawa,
Nawa.
Af, Na'awaf,
Nawa.
Alahayam,
Ayahaya.
Alahaya,
Ayahaya.
Shayatamwa,
Satamu.
Kagogala,
Gogwa.
Kakwash,
Makwash.
Lapanya Raka,
Panyamaka.
Ka'ash,
Kaash.
Tabaira Yaira,
Become Ira Ira.
Wakala Abba,
Wakaraba.
Talahat,
Talaha.
Harya,
Hardy.
Kantaradama,
Come to the Dapper.
Basa Iraka,
What's Irica?
Wabasa Wapafka,
Look past the past.
Tabahalam,
Tagalong.
Mala'ah,
Mara.
Tanyaham,
Tamaran.
Kwalawan,
Kola one.
Wayabakwashwa,
Washwa.
Shamka,
Shimka.
Yahawa,
Yahawa.
Yabashwa,
Nabashwa.
Wayabaawa,
Yabarawa.
Ayai,
Iva.
Wayakapawa,
Paro.
Wayabadwa,
Vara.
Wayadaira,
Iva.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Atha,
Taka.
Shamka,
Shimka.
Yahawa,
Yahawa.
Labaka,
Labak.
Ayawan,
Ayawan.
Aka Ha'arataza.
Aka Rataza.
Keep not thy silence on my power.
Keep out the sounds on
Hold not thy peace.
and hold out thy peace.
And be not still.
Be not still.
All my power.
Hold my
For
power.
lo,
Below.
thy enemies make it tumult.
For enemy make it to most.
And they that hate thee
And they that hate thee,
have lifted up their heads.
I lift up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against our people.
They have taken crafty counsel against our
And
people.
consulted against our hidden ones.
And consulted against our hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
come
come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
let us cut them off to be in a nation.
That the name of Israel
That the name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no one in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
They are consulted together
with one consent.
for one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
and Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
the Baal,
Baal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Saul also joined with them.
Saul also joined with
They
them.
are hoping the children of Lot.
They are hoping the children of
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto
as
them
unto the
and
Midianites,
unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kisa,
at the brook
which
Kisa,
perished at Endor.
which perished at
They
Endor.
became as dung for the earth.
They became dung for you.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like a red.
and like Zeher.
And that's a head.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes,
all their princes,
as Zabah,
as a
and
body,
as Zalmunna,
as a moon,
who said,
who said,
let us take to ourselves
and take to
the
ourselves
houses of the power and possession.
the house of the power and possession.
O my power,
Oh my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a
as
wheel,
the stubble before the wind,
and they stumble before the wind,
as the fire burneth for wood,
as the fire burning the wood,
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy
To
tempest,
persecute them with our tempest,
and make them afraid with thy
and
storm.
make them afraid with our storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
and they may seek thy name.
O my power,
Oh my power,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded,
and troubled
in trouble,
forever.
forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame,
and perish,
and perish.
that man may know
And then we know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone is,
you know is
whose name alone is,
his name,
whose name
whose name
alone is
alone is
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
or the Most High,
the Most High.
over all the earth.
And all the earth.
Blessing in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barak Ata Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shah?
Why Yahweh Shah?
Why Mayaka Allah?
Why Allah?
Why Al Hayim?
Why Al-Hayy?
Matazabia
Tazabah.
Alawat Yahana.
Al-Waq Yahweh.
Ha Alawakiam.
Ha Al-Waq.
Ha Saranyam.
Ha Surayim.
Ha Patazayanyam.
Ha Katazayim.
Ha Kayayanyam.
Ha Kayayim.
Waha Kwafiam.
Ha Al-Qafim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahshua.
Tawada Aman.
Tawada.
In the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Blessed be Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahweh.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And angels.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commander General
The
Yahweh.
generals.
The general.
The captains.
The captain.
The officers.
The officer.
The troopers.
Troop.
And the sisters.
And the sister.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
Name Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahshua.
Barak Lanawa.
Barak Yahweh.
Wa Yasharala.
Why Yahshua?
Wahaba Yah.
Wayaba Yah.
Saparium.
Sapari.
Barak.
Barak.
Rafa'ah.
Wabah.
Magun.
Magan.
Hagun.
Hagan.
Yasharala.
Yahshua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahshua.
Tawada
Tawada.
in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahweh.
Bless us.
Bless us.
And Israel.
Israel.
And the school.
In the school.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Israel.
Israel.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
I actually get curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed be Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth.
and all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahweh.
listen to us now,
Listen to us now.
right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses,
Evils and
and
curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the heathen
To the heathen.
that speak against
That
us,
speak against us.
thy prophets,
The prophet.
the teachers,
The teacher.
the princes,
The prince.
the priests,
The priest.
the Israelite brothers,
The Israelite.
and the
brothers.
school.
In the school.
Send evils and curses,
The evils and
and
curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the heathen,
To the heathen.
and shake loose the treasure
Should lose the
of
treasure.
the rich of Israel
The rich of Israel.
that refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to get to the school.
Force their riches
Once they're rich.
to enter into thy sanctuary.
To enter our sanctuary.
Send evils and curses,
Say evils and
and
curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the Edomites
To the Edomites.
and the nations
And the nation.
and their drug dealers,
And drug dealers.
the court system,
The court system.
the prison system,
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood.
all the governments of our enemies,
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church.
the Pope,
The Pope.
Islam,
Islam.
Christianity,
Christianity.
Egyptology,
Egyptology.
militia,
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation.
skinheads,
Skinhead.
Posse Kamatazi,
Posse
the
Comitatus.
gay movement,
Gay
the
movement.
lesbian movement,
The lesbian movement.
spies,
Spies.
workers of witchcraft,
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA space program,
That's our space program.
army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airways, cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro to the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media. Throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you always. So be it. So you should turn. Shabia, be seated. Set me up, Bakasha, Paratazar with some of the Lord's fragrance.
Say that again, sir.
Set me up, Bakasha, with the Lord's fragrance, Bakasha. Last week, we left off at 2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 15. Let's double check that. It's correct. 2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 15.
Okay, sir. And I don't think we got the charcoals.
Do we have the steak? We should have the steak. I bought some.
Cover. So I see one there. I think it's
2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 16 is where we're gonna begin today. And we're starting from the Hebrew. Make sure you grab your swords and you could read along with us. Verse 16. I think there's a plate in the back. It's made out of brass, I think. Use that instead. This is gonna burn this. 2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 16 in the Hebrew. Malabad, Hathaya Kasham, Lazar Kariyam, Maban, Shalawash, Shanyam, Wala Mai La Laka, Haba, Labayath, Yahweh, Ladabar, Yawam, Baya Wamawa, La'ai Bawa Datham, Bama Shamara Watham, Kamaka Lakwa Wathayam, verse 17, Wa'af, Hatha Yakash, Haka Hanyam, Labayath, Abawa Thayaham, Wa Haloyam, Maban, Ai Shariyam, Shana'a, Wala Ma'ailaha, Bama Shamara Wathayam, Bamaka Lakwa Wathayaham, verse 18. Walaha Tayakash, Bakal, Tapam, Nasha Yaham, Wabanyaham, Waban Wathayam Laka Kwaha Kaya Ba Ama One Thumb Ba Ama Wanathum Yatha Kwadashwa Kwadash, verse 19. Wala Banya Arahan Aka Ha Kahanya Ba Bashadia Magarash I Wayaham Bakar I Ya Wa I Ya Anashiam Ashar Nakwa Bawa Bashar Mawaf Latha Manawaf Lakar Zakar Ba Kahanyam Walaka Hatha Yakash Bala Ba Loyam Waya Aish Kaza'ath Ya Kaza Waya Hawa Bakal Yahawada Waya Aish Ha Thawab Waha Yasha Waha Amath Lapanya Yahawa Alahayam Alahayawa, verse 21. Wabaka Ma'aisha Ashar Haka Ba'ai Bawadaf Bayaf Ha Alahayam Waba Tawa Ra'a Waba Matazawa Ladarash La'a Lahayawa Bakar Lababawa Aisha Waha Tazalaya Yak. Second Chronicles chapter 32 verse 1. Akoya Ha Dabarium Waha Amath Ha Alaha Ba'a Sana Karaya Malak Ashawa Waya Ba'a Ba Yahawada Waya Khan I Ha'ai Rayam Habatazara Rath Waya Amar Labakwa I Alayawa. In the English, 2 Chronicles 31 and 16. Beside their genealogy of males from 3 years old upward, even unto everyone that entereth into the house of the Most High, his daily portion for their service in their charges according to their courses. 17. Both to the genealogy of the priests by the house of their fathers, and the Levites from 20 years old and upward in their charges by their courses. 18. And to the genealogy of all the little ones, their wives, and their sons, and their daughters, through all the congregation, for in their set office they sanctify themselves in holiness. All right, so what we are reading about is, if you remember last week, we spoke about how Hezekiah, he had destroyed, when you go back to verse 1 in chapter 31, he had destroyed all the graven images. Because why? Because his father was an evil man. I forgot his father's name. Was it, I remember, I forgot his father's name, but I believe it's in chapter 29 when his father passed away, and his father had followed after Israel, because at this time Israel and Judah were divided, but Israel left from the face of the Most High first, meaning that they started following after the heathens, after the idols of the heathens. So Judah, some of the kings under descendants of King David, they started doing the same thing that Israel was doing, meaning the northern kingdom. And Hezekiah's father was one of those kings who left the custom of his forefathers, who left what David had established, what Solomon has established, that was from the Lord, and started following after the heathen. So Hezekiah, when he became king after his father passed away, he destroyed all of those graven images, all of the evil that his father had done. And at this stage, it's talking about how the genealogies, how they were being sanctified, because at this point we were returning to serve the Most High. All right. Verse 18, and the genealogy of all their little ones, their wives and their sons and their daughters, to all the congregation, for in their set office they sanctify themselves in holiness, meaning they cleanse themselves. Verse 19, also of the sons of Aaron the priests, which were in the fields of the suburbs of their cities, in every several city, the men that were expressed by name, to give portions to all the males among the priests, and to all that were reckoned by genealogies among the Levites. And this is very important, because our genealogy matters. And what I mean by that is that who we descend from matters in the Bible. And when you look in the book of Chronicles, that is very crucial, because that's how we're going to know who power goes to. You can't be Arab and think you're gonna come in the nation of Israel and be king.
That's right.
Who's your father? Who you descend from? Are you from the tribe of Judah? Are you from the tribe of Manasseh? Are you from the tribe of Levi? We need to know who the hell you are, because you can't come here and be a priest or be a king or occupy any type of office inside of the nation of Israel when it comes to serving the Lord, right? Verse 20, and thus did Hezekiah throughout all Judah, and wrought that which was good and right and truth before the Most High his power. Verse 21, and in every work that he began in the service of the house of the power, and in the law, and in the commandments to seek his power, he did it with all his heart and prospered. All right. So Hezekiah, like Christ said, the law rests on these two commandments, right? To love the Most High with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, right? And that's what Hezekiah did. Even though his father was an evil bastard, right? Instead of following the law, statutes, and commandments that was given to us as our constitution, what did he do? He followed after Israel, right? The northern kingdom, who followed after the heathen. Verse 1 in chapter 32, after these things, in the establishment thereof, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came and entered into Judah and encamped against the fenced cities, and thought to win them for himself. So now at this point, like it says in Judges, the 3rd chapter, the nations that are round about us, they are there as a whipping stick. And when we don't follow God's commandment, when we don't abide by these laws, statutes, and commandments, our constitution, what happened is that these other nations, they can come and overpower us. They can come and rule over us, as we are seeing today, that we are being ruled by a people that are weaker than us, that are people that just learned how to shower a few centuries ago, a people that are no people. This is what happened to us when we don't serve the Most High God, because these people that are round about us, they are always going to try to conquer us. And this is what the king of Assyria that we are reading about here, Sennacherib, was trying to do. All right, he tried to overpower Israel, and he came and encamped. That means he came with a host to do what? To siege Jerusalem. All right, like the Romans did in 70 AD, right? Like Christopher Columbus did when he came to the island of Haiti. Like the Pilgrims did when they came over here to the Americas oppress our native Indian brothers and sisters. All right, verse 2. And when Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib was come and that he was purposed to fight against Jerusalem, so Hezekiah saw that. He saw this king is coming. He knows his purpose is to what? To fight Israel. He's not coming in peace. All right, verse 3. He took counsel with his princes and his mighty men to stop the waters of the fountains which were without the city, and they did help him. All right. So now when you look at all major civilization, they are always by a body of water, because water is very essential. It is essential in every aspect of ruling a nation, whether you're talking about Egypt in the Nile Valley, whether you're talking about Babylon or Assyria, or in our case, Jerusalem. We are always, all major kingdom are always around a body of water. So what Hezekiah did as a tactic, right, to weaken the host of Assyria that came against Jerusalem, is to counsel with his princes and the mighty men, the warriors, right, to stop the waters of the fountains which were without the city, and they did help him, and that helped. That helped to weaken the enemy that's coming to fight us. Picture what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine. Picture the Ukrainian finding a way to stop the Russian from getting to water, from getting to any type of resources so that they could eat, so that they could maintain themselves to continue fighting. All right? Picture that in your mind so you have a visual of what's going on here. Verse 4. So there was gathered much people together, who stopped all the fountains and the brook that ran through the midst of the land, saying, why should the king of Assyria come and find much water? Why should you come here and find water? You're coming over here to destroy us. Nah, you need to die of thirst, you bastard. Right? Let's keep on reading. Verse 5. Also, he strengthened himself. And built up all the wall that was broken, and raised it up to the towers, and another wall without, and repaired Meloin, the city of David, and made darts and shields in abundance. Verse 6. And he set captains of war over the people, and gathered them together to him in the street of the gate of the city, and spake comfortably to them, saying, and he spake comfortably, all right? He wasn't in fear. He spake comfortably to the people. We are at war right now, and there's an enemy that's coming to besiege Jerusalem. Verse 7, be strong and courageous. Be not afraid nor dismayed for the king of Assyria, nor for all the multitude that is with him. Don't worry about that army that he has with him. Don't worry about the king of Assyria. He's nothing. All right? And this is how in the Isupk we feel today. This is why we are so aggressive with this truth. Because we don't fear Donald Trump. We don't fear the army, the navy, the air force, skinheads, Basi Kamatazi, the Ku Klux Klan, spies, NASA. We don't fear none of them, because we know we have a greater power. We serve a living power. And we know the power that is with us is stronger than all of them combined. All right. Verse 8, with him is an arm of flesh, but with us is the Most High, our power to help us. All right. They have an arm of flesh. All right. So what? We have the Lord on our side. All right. And to fight our battles, and the people rested themselves upon the words of Hezekiah, king of Judah. All right. We're going to pick up in the Hebrew, 2 Chronicles 32 and 9. In the Hebrew, Akar, Za'ah, Shalak, Sana Karayab, Malak, Asharar, Ibadiyawa, Yararashalam, Waha Wa'a, Lakayash, Wakar, Mama Shalathawa,
Aimawa, Ain, Yaka Zakwa Yahweh, Malak, Yahweh, Wa'ail, Kal, Yahweh, Ashar, Bayara Shalom, La Amar, verse 10, Kaha, Amar, Sana Karaya, Malak, Ashawar, Ail, Maha, Atham, Ba Takayam, Waya Shabayam, Bama Tazawar, Bayarashalam, verse 11, Hala'ah, Yaka Zakwa Yahweh, Masayath, Atha Kam, Lathath, Salaka, Atha Kam, Lamawath, Bara'ai, Waba Tazama'a, La'amar, Yahweh, Alahaynawa, Yatazaya Lanawa, Makah, Malak, Ashawar, verse 12, Hala'ah, Hawa'ah, Yakazakwa Yahweh, Hasayah, Qaf, Bama Thayawa, Wa'af, Ma Zabba Kathayawa, Waya Amar, La Yahawada, Walaya Rashalam, La Amar, La Panya, Mazabak, Akkad, Tha Shatha Kawal, Wa'ai Layawa, Thaqwa Tayawa, verse 13, Hala'ah, Tha Da'aiwa, Ma'at, Ai Shayathaya, Anya, Wa'a Bawathaya, Lakar, Aimaya, Ha Aratazawath, Haya Kawal, Yakawa, Alahaya, Gawaya, Goya, Ha Aratazawath, Laha Tazayal, Af, Aratazam, Mayadaya. 15 will be the last verse. Verse 14, Maya, Bakal, Alahaya, Ha Gawayam, Ha Goyam, Ha Alaha, Ashar, Hakarayamwa, Abba Wafia, Ashar, Yakawal, Laha Tazayal, Af, Aimawa, Mayadaya, Kaya, Yawakal, Alahayakam, Lahatazayal, Athakam, Mayadaya, Wa'aitha, Ayah, verse 15, Yasha, Ya'ak, Athakam, Ha, Zakwaya, Hawa, Wa'al, Yasayaf, Athakam, Kaza'af, Wa'al, Ta'a Mayanwa, Lawa, Kaya, La'a, Yawakal, Kal, Alawa, Kal, Gawaya, Wa Mama, Laka, Laha Tazayal, Aimawa, Wayadaya, Mayadaya, Wamayad, Abawafia, Kaya, Alahaya Kam, La'a, Yatazayalawa, Afkam, Mayadaya,
All right, Second Chronicles chapter 22, verse 9. After this deed, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, sent his servants to Jerusalem. But he himself laid siege against Lachish, and all his power with him, unto Hezekiah king of Judah, and unto all Judah that were in Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith Sennacherib, king of Assyria, whereon do ye trust, that ye abide in the siege in Jerusalem? So he sent his servant, the king of Assyria sent his servant to go to Jerusalem, like asking them, like, what you trust on? Who is it that you trust on that you think that, we're not gonna take over? All right, let's keep on reading. Verse 11, doth not Hezekiah persuade you to give over yourselves to die by famine and by thirst, saying, the Most High, our power, shall deliver us out of hand of the king of Assyria? So basically, he's like, isn't Hezekiah telling y'all to commit suicide? Isn't that what Hezekiah is doing? Telling y'all to commit suicide, right? By famine. You're going to die by famine if you're not going to just submit to the king of Assyria. Verse 11, verse 12, so like, have not the name Hezekiah taken away his high places and his altars, and commanded Judah and Jerusalem, saying, ye shall worship before one altar and burn incense upon it. Verse 13, know ye not what I and my fathers have done unto all the people of other lands? Don't you know what me, King Necker, what's his name? Sennacherib. Don't you know what myself, Sennacherib, and my fathers have done to all the other nations on the earth? Don't you know how we destroyed all the other nations? Don't you know how we conquered the other lands? What you think you're gonna do? You think your God is gonna protect you from us? Right? Speaking very, very with much pride. Verse 14. Who was there among all the gods of those nations that my fathers utterly destroyed, that could deliver his people out of my hand? Who was it? Out of all these other nations that we conquered, they had gods. All these other nations that we conquered, they had gods, and none of their gods were able to stop us from conquering their people. None of their gods. This is what the messenger is saying to the people, coming from the king of Assyria, that your God, Salaka, that could deliver his people out of my hand, that your God should be able to deliver you out of my hand. Verse 15. Now therefore, let not Hezekiah deceive you, nor persuade you on this matter, neither yet believe him, for no God of any nation or kingdom was able to deliver his people out of mine hand and out of the hand of my fathers. How much less shall your God deliver you out of my hand? It's like that king was very bold, Paratazar. He's like, look, don't let it's like Donald Trump come in here, Joe Biden's like, don't let Commanding General Yohana deceive you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all over here building Isupk like, y'all about to do something. We gonna conquer y'all. Don't let General Muhammad deceive you. Don't let Commanding General Yohana deceive you. Just submit. Submit to the ways of America. Submit to Christmas. We got the 4th of July coming. Just submit. Right? Submit. Don't let them deceive you. Talking about, we're gonna separate from America. Don't let them deceive you. This is what this bastard is saying to our people. All right, go ahead, Paratazar.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So everybody on West. Also, these arrogant neighbors say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black enough.
Yeah, you're not black.
That they're arrogant, or saying like, vote for me. What else can you do?
Yeah. What else can you do? Like you had nobody. Like
that's what they basically said.
Yeah.
That's what Trump said.
Yeah. You just an age-old country, an age-old people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just submit, right? Well, let's find out what happened. Verse 16. Verse 16, we're reading from the Hebrew, and then we're gonna break it down. All right, so we're in 2 Chronicles chapter 32 and 16.
Wa'aiwan. Ba the bawa. Ibad Yahweh. Ha Alahayam. Wa'ai. Yaka Zakwa Yahweh. Ibadwa, verse 17. Wasa Parayam. Petha. La Kara. La Yahweh. Alahaya. Yasharala. Wala Amar. I la Yawa. La Amar. Ka'a la Haya. Goya. Ha Aratazawa. Ashar la A. Ha Tazayala Taza. Ha Tazayala wa. Imam. Mayadia. Khan. La A. Yatazayal. Alahaya. Yaka Zakwa Yahweh. Aimawa. Mayadaya. Wayakwa Ra Awa. Bakwa Wa. Gadwa. Yahweh Dayath. Ain. Rawashalam. Ashar. Hakawa Ma'a. La Ya Raham. Wala Bahalam. Lama'ain. Yala Kadwa. Ha'ayawa. Verse 19. Waya Dabawa. Alahaya. Ya Rawashalam. Ka'ai. Alahaya. Aimaya. Ha Arataza. Ma'ai Sha'a. Yadia. Ha Adam. Waya Thapala. Ya Kazakwa Yahweh. Hamalak. Waya Sha'ai Yahweh. Bun. Ama Wataza. Hana Bayaha. Ain. Za'af. Waya Za'ai Hawa. Hasha Mayam, verse 21. Waya Shalak. Yahweh. Malahat. Waya Ka. Gabawa. Kaya. Wana Gayad. Washar. Bama Kanaha. Malak. Ashawar. Wayashab. Baba Shaf. Paniyam. La Aratazawa. Waya Ba'a. Bayath. Alahayawa. Wa Mayatazayahawa. Ma'ayawa. Sham. Ha Paya Lahawa. Ba Hara. 16. 22 is the last verse.
22.
Waya Wa Sha'ai. Yahweh. Yakaza Kwa Yahweh. Wa'af. Yashabia. Yarawashalam. Mayad. Sana Karaya. Malak. Ashawar. Wama Yad Ka. Wayad Nahalam. Matha Baya. All right, verse 16. So let's see what happened after, the king of Assyria talked all this smack. He was talking all this smack. Let's see what happened. Verse 16 in 2 Chronicles chapter 32. And his servant spake yet more against the Most High power and against his servant Hezekiah. 17. He wrote also letters to rail on the Most High power of Israel and to speak against him, saying, as the powers of the nations, as the gods of the nations of all the lands have not delivered their people out of my hand, so shall not the God of Hezekiah deliver his people out of my hand. So he's basically putting us, lumping us together with the other nations. He's like, the other nations, they didn't do anything. Their powers, their gods couldn't do anything. The same way their gods couldn't do anything is the same way Hezekiah, whatever God Hezekiah served, is not going to do anything. All right, verse 18. Then they cried with a loud voice. So like verse 17. So like read verse 18. Then they cried with a loud voice in the Jews' speech unto the people of Jerusalem that were on the wall in the Lashawan Kodash, in the holy tongue, the Hebrew, to affright them and to trouble them that they might take the city. Verse 19, and they spake against the power of Jerusalem as against the gods of the people of the earth, which were the work of the hands of men. All right, just like the other people have gods that they made with their hands, well, they thought our God was not a living God. They did not know that our God was a living God that delivered us out of the Egyptians' hand, that destroyed Babylon. They didn't know that. Well, they about to find out. Verse 20. And for this cause Hezekiah the king and the prophet Isaiah the son of Amos prayed and cried to heaven. 21. And the Most High sent an angel which cut off all the mighty men of valor and the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. Next thing you know, the captains, the soldiers of the king of Assyria are getting destroyed. Right. Because the Most High sent an angel. This is nothing for the Most High to do. All right, and this is what we have to understand as God chosen people, because we don't have an army to fight, America. Do you see how much money they're spending during that war? And the war did not even explode. World War III didn't even explode yet. Parafazah, it didn't even explode yet. It's still like at the grassroots. It didn't explode yet. And look at how much billions of dollars they are spending on weapons, spending on wars, spending on defense, spending on cyber attack, sonar weapon. Like they have all types of weapon. What do we have? The little AK-47 that the oppressor gave you in the first place. That you need to go to him to get the bullets. The 45 millimeter that you got from him in the first place, and you got to go get bullets from him. We don't have no weapons. Because why? Because our weapons is brotherhood. Bro. Our weapon is the Most High power. That's our weapon. And when we serve God, there's nothing that God will not do to destroy our nation. He will destroy our nation with a blink of an eye. All right? We're in verse 21. I just read verse 21. We're in the middle of verse 21. So he returned with shame of face to his own land. And when he was come into the house of his God, listen to this carefully, right? Let me take it from the top. We're in 2 Chronicles chapter 32, verse 21. And the Most High sent an angel which cut off all the mighty men of valor and the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. Listen to this carefully. So he returned with shame. Who? The king of Assyria. He returned with shame of face, like it says in the scripture, right? Shame shall cover thee for thy violence against our brother Jacob. This is what's going to happen to our oppressor. They're gonna be shameful when their armies get destroyed by our king Yahushua Mashiach, right, and the angels. Return with shame of face to his own land. And when he was come into the house of his God, they that came forth of his own bowels slew him there with the sword. His own people slew him. This is the king that was talking all that smack, Paratazah. I was saying, come on, man. You know how I did, how me and my fathers did, all the other nations. You're going to listen to Hezekiah? Man, he's going to cause you to commit suicide, man. You're going to die of famine. You're gonna die of thirst. Just submit, bro. This was his fate. This is how he got destroyed. Verse 22. Thus the Most High saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, and from the hand of all other, and guided them on every side. All right. Verse 23. Is this a 6 set, Paratazar?
No,
Check for me.
Going into 5.
This is 5 right here.
Come.
Double check for me. I studied at 31 and 15.
31 and 15?
16, sorry.
Oh, no,
31 and 16 is where I studied. You can just let me know at the end.
Chapter 32, verse 16.
No, I started. Check what's said. Double check that I'm on the right set. I started at 2 Chronicles 31 and 16.
Oh, come.
Thought.
I got it right here.
Verse 23 in 2 Chronicles chapter 32.
So this is set 5.
This is 5 right here? Alright, thought. Wara bayam mabaya hayam mana kaha la Yahweh la Yarashalam wama ga da danawaf la ka zakwa Yahweh malak Yahweh wa ya nasha'a la ay yanya kal hagayam ma ha Karaya Khan 24 ba yum haham kalaha yakaza kwa Yahweh aid lamawaf wa ya tapala al Yahweh wa ya amar lawa Wama Path Nathan Lawa, verse 25, Wala'a Kagamal Al Yawa Hasha Yam Yaka Zakwa Yahweh Kaya Gabaha Labawa Wayahaya Ail Layawa Quataza wa Ail Yahawada wa Yarashalam 26 wa Ya Kanai Yakaza kwa Yahweh. Baba Kashaf Quataza. That bag right here, it got 3 sets of flyers. You got 2 Spanish. Can you put them together? Those together with the Kent flyers, Baba Kashaf.
Okay.
And leave the Levi flyers. Just put them to the side for me. The Levi flyers. Labawa, Hawa'a, Waya Shabaya, Waya Shabia, Waya Rashalam, Wala'a, Ba'a, Ai, Layaham, Quatazak, Yahweh, Bayamya, Ya Kaza kwa Yahweh 27 wa Yahaya la ya kwaza kwa la ya kaza kwa Yahweh Aisha waka wakabawad hara baha ma'ad wa atazara waf Aisha lawa la kasab wala zahab wala haban yakwa ra'a wala basha mayam wala ma gunyam wala kalya kamadaha 28 Wama Saka Nawaf Lata Bawaaf the gun Watha Yarawash, Waya Tazahar, Wa'arawath Lakal, Baha Maha, Wabaha Maha, Wa'ai Dariyam, La'awa, Rarath, 29. The water. Wa'ai Rayam, Ai Sha'a, Lawa, Wama Kwanaha, Tazahan, Bakwa, Larab, Kaya, Nathan, Lawa, Alahayam, Kawash, Rab, Ma'ad. Right? 32 and what is that, 23?
So you said that you have.
I got 3 sets of flyers.
3 sets?
Yes.
I see.
There's two different Spanish one, and there's one Levite one.
There's one Levite?
There's 2, yeah. There's the imposter and
Yeah, you have the imposter then. You see also.
Yes. So those are the 2 sets. Those I want you to put them together with the camp.
Alright.
With the camp flyers.
You say there's the Levite one that's in Haiti, that's in Creole?
Yeah, you should have the Levite flag on top of it.
Okay.
You should see it. Oh, matter of fact, no, I think those are in the whip. Yeah, I think those are in my car. I think it's only those 2 sets.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Second Chronicles chapter 32, verse 23. And many brought gifts unto the Most High to Jerusalem, and presents to Hezekiah king of Judah, so that he was magnified in the sight of all nations from thenceforth. 24. In those days Hezekiah was sick to the death, and prayed unto the Most High, and he spake unto him, and he gave him a sign. Verse 25. But Hezekiah rendered not again according to the benefit done unto him, for his heart was lifted up. Therefore there was wrath upon him and upon Judah and Jerusalem. And this is what we have to learn as a people, man. When you do something great, don't let it go through your head. You are nobody.
Sure.
And in the very prayer that our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach taught us, right? It says that to him belong the power, the glory, and the covenant. The glory don't belong to you. The power does not belong to you. That's why whenever you see a priest, a prophet in the Isupk does something great, and man congratulate him, man, most high Christ. Right. I ain't nothing. You know, in the word of Captain I ain't shit. You know, and this is what caused Moses to not enter the kingdom.
Right.
And this is what caused Hezekiah to die a horrible death after he done all this greatness. But he think this greatness he did, you know, with his own power. You didn't do it with your own power, buddy. You nothing. All right? You are just a vessel that the Most High is using. The Most High says this: ye are my, my battle axe. With you will I destroy the nations. So when a nation get destroyed, it's not because you destroy the nation. It's because the Most High used you to destroy that nation. Right? All right? So we have to learn that as a people. We have to humble ourselves in front of the Most High. Verse 26, notwithstanding, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of the Lord of the Most High came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. 20. What was the last verse?
The last verse is 29.
29 to 27. And Hezekiah had exceeding much richness and honor, and he made himself treasuries for silvers and for gold. All right, so after 25, when he says that, let's get back to that, right? But Hezekiah rendered not again according to the benefit done unto him, for his heart was lifted up. Therefore, there was wrath upon him. So his mind was lifted up. He was high-minded, and because of that, wrath came upon him and upon Judah and Jerusalem, right? Upon all Israel as a whole. Now, 26, notwithstanding, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart. And he humbled himself. And this is what we have to do. All right, we have to humble ourselves. And Hezekiah did that. Right? After being high-minded, notwithstanding, he humbled himself. All right. Both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of the Most High came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. And the Most High is such a living power. Go ahead, brother.
Is it in your trunk or in the back seat?
No, I got it.
Oh,
yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, not the flyers, the air pumps.
Oh yeah, cut. It's in the back seat.
Oh.
And like I was saying, the Most High is such a living power, man. You know, when you have children, for the people who have children, even if you don't have children, you have nephews or you've been around kids. When your children do something, or your nephews and your nieces, when they do something wrong, you punish them. But when they do something right, you reward them.
Right.
And this is how the Most High is. Hezekiah was high-minded, and what happened? Wrath came upon him and Judah and Israel. And the minute he humbled himself, what happened? What happened the minute Hezekiah and the people humbled themselves? Let's keep on reading. And Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor, and he made himself treasuries for silver and for gold and for precious stones and for spices and for shields and for all manner of pleasant jewels. 28. Storehouses also for the increase of corn and wine and oil, and stores for all manner of beasts and coats for flocks. 29. Moreover, he provided him cities and possession of flocks and herds in abundance, for God had given him substance very much. This is what happened when you humble yourself as a nation. 20, verse 30. The same Hezekiah also stopped the upper water course of Gihon and brought it straight out. 29 was the last verse, right? We read one verse extra. Let's get back to the Hebrew. All right. Wa'ai Rayam Aisha'a Lawa Wama Wa Naha Tazahan Wabakwa Larab Kaya Nathan Lawa Alahayam Rabarash Rab Ma'ad 30 Wahawan Yakazakwa Yahweh Satham Af Mawataza Mayamya Gaya Kawan Ha'ai Lawai Salakia. Ha'ai Layawan Waya Yasharam Lama Taha Ma'ai Rabah La'ai Ya Dawayada Waya Tazalak Yakazakwa Yahweh Bakal Ma'ai Shahwa 31 Wakan Bamalaya Tazaya Sharia Babal Hama Shala Kayam I Layawa La Darash Ha Mawa Paf Ashar Hayaha Ba'arataza Zabua Ha Alahayam Lana Ta Watham Salaki Lana Sa Wa Wafwa Lana Sa Wafwa Lada Ai Kal Bala Babuwa, verse 32, Wayatha Daboya Ya Kaza Kwayahawa Waka Sadu Yawa Hanam Katha Wabyam Baka Zawan Yashai Yahwa Ban Amarataza Ha Nabaya Nabayah, Al, Sapar, Malakia, Yahawada, Wayarashala, Waya, Shalaka, Yashalala, 33, Waya Shakab, Yakaza, Kwayahawa, Ain, Abathiwa, Wayakwa, Barawa, Bama Ilaha, Kwabaya, Banya, Dawayada, Baka, Bawad, Aishawa, Lawa, Bamawa, Thor, Kal, Yahawada, Wayashat, Yashabia, Yarawashalam, Waya Malak, Manasha, Banwa, Tayawa, 33. What's the last verse?
The last verse is 33, verse 3.
The water. Bun, Shathyam, Aishara, Shana, Manasha, Bamalakwa, Kama, Shayam, Kamash, Shana, Malak, Ba Yerushalayim, verse 2, Wayaish, Harai, Ba'ai, Yanya, Yahweh, Kathaf, Kathawai, Bawath, Ha, Goyam, Ashar, Hawa, Rayash, Yahweh, Mapanya, Banya, Yasharala, verse 3, Wayashab, Wayaban, Af, Habamawaf, Ashar, Nafa, Tazak, Yakaza, Kwayahawa, Abayawa, Wayakwam, Maza, Bakawaf, Laba'ailayam, Wayaish, Ashar Waf, Waya Shaf Kawa, Lakal, Tazabaa, Hasha Mayam, Waya Bad, Atham. Baba Kashab, can you read that for me in the English?
Card. So 32, verse 30. Second Chronicles, chapter 32, verse 30. This same Hezekiah also stopped the upper watercourse of Gihon and brought it straight down to the west side of the city of David. And Hezekiah prospered in all his works. Verse 31. Howbeit, in the business of the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, who went unto him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land.
See that part again?
Who sent unto him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land.
This is the same thing that happened in Egypt. When Egypt got destroyed, all the nations were talking like, God damn. You know, these are the people. When you go read in the book of Judith, the 5th chapter, there was this, I believe he was either Ammon or this Moabite king. He wasn't a king, he was the servant of a king. I forgot what his position was, but the king wanted to destroy Israel. And he was saying, my Lord, listen, this is who these people is. These people came from Abraham. Abraham left his fathers because his fathers were worshiping idols. It gives you the whole history about our nation. Go read Judith, the 5th chapter. And that, whatever his rank was, he told the king, look, when these people are serving God, leave them alone.
Right.
Because their God will destroy you. Their God will defend them. But if they're not serving God, then we can go and overpower them. This is our reputation. So they came and asked about the wonders. Because you don't have an army, how the hell did you defeat the Assyrians? How the hell did we defeat the Egyptians? How? Because of the Most High and the angels.
Right.
It's the same way we're going to defeat our oppressors today. Keep going.
The Most High left him to try him, that he might know all that was in his heart. Verse 32. Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah in his goodness, behold, they are written in a vision of Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, and in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Verse 33. And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the chiefest of the sepulchres of the sons of David.
All right, so now Hezekiah passed away. Right? Hezekiah passed away just like his father passed away. Now we're going to read what happened with his son. Right? Because what we are reading here, we are reading about the genealogies, the great, great, great grandchildren of King David. That's what we are reading about. This is the house of David here, right? All of these that we are reading in 2 Chronicles is the house of David. And then also you will see in certain verses, in certain chapters, it talks about the king of Israel. So you will see the king of Judah, which we are talking about here. And you also see the king of Israel, because at this point, Israel as a nation was divided. We had Judah, which was, of course, here in context was the specific house of Judah, but also Judah as his companions, which will be Levi and Benjamin, and Israel, which will be Joseph and his companions, the other 8 tribes. Keep going.
And all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem did him honor at his death. And Manasseh, his son, reigned in his stead. Chapter 33, verse 1. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. Verse 2. But did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High.
All right, so this bastard here, right? And when you leave the Most High, you become a bastard. That's
right.
What happens. Because now the Most High reject us. And this is why it's important for us to, like the scripture says in Romans 15:4, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning. We got to go back and read these records. And this is why the Christian church, they don't want to go to these records. They don't want to show the people, look, when we serve God, this is what happened. When we don't serve God, when we go against the laws, then we get destroyed. Because the Christian pastor don't want to serve God. The Christian pastor do not want to observe these laws, statutes, and commandments. He just want to get rich, filthy rich, under his oppressor and serve his oppressor like a good servant, like a good slave. So he will never go in the Chronicles to show you when we eat pork, to go to the Maccabees and show you when we did all manner of evil, we get destroyed like we are destroyed today.
Right.
He's going to tell you, nah, you could sin. Just bring me your money. Just make me rich. Keep going.
Like unto the abominations of the heathen.
And this is what he did. He didn't follow after his father, who followed after the law, statutes, and commandments that was given to us. Nah, he followed after the heathen. Continue.
Whom the Most High had cast out before the children of Israel.
And the Most High destroyed the heathen so many times. Like, how are you going to serve these people that the Most High are no people? Keep going.
Verse 3. For he built again the high places which Hezekiah his father had broken down. And he reared up altars for Baalim.
All right, Baalim or Baal. All right, so Baalim, you will see this in the scriptures. You will see different spelling, so to speak, but it's just talking about Baal. And you will have Baal, You have Baal, I don't know, the water god. You have Baal for farming. You have Baal for love. Like you have different versions. This is just what people did to really for money. Right? They serve you different gods. Oh, get this little Baalim right here. This Baalim right here is gonna help you with money. You know, get this Balaam. This Balaam is gonna help you get a wife. You know, and this is the same thing that happened today when you go to these what you call them, these crystal, these astrologers and these people. They want to tell you, get this crystal right here, get the amethyst. The amethyst is good for this. You know, get this stone, it's good for that. They just hustling you. And what's his name? Manasseh, this is what he did. He just got deceived and went and followed after the heathen. That's it on verse 3?
Sir.
Keep going.
And made groves and worship all the hosts of heaven and served them.
And all the hosts of heaven. Go and worship Venus. You know, go and worship the Queen of Heaven. Go and worship the sun, like the Egyptian did. Right? I'll take it from there. This is the last set, right?
Come on, sir.
I'll read that in English. All right, so verse 4, also he built altars in the house of the Most High, whereof the Most High had said, throw out, priest. Whereof the Most High had said in Jerusalem, shall my name be forever. Verse 5, and he built altars. And he built altars to Baalim in the house of the Most High. Can you picture? Sha'al? You know, you come here with a Christian altar and put a white Jesus, a Caesar Borgia right here on this table right here. Can you picture that? You gotta say, who's the priest that had Sabbath service today?
Right.
Keep that idol and that priest out of the school.
Right.
You know, this is something we cannot even fathom today. And this was what happened, what was happening. You can't fathom that in the Isupk. Because in the Isupk, this is the sanctuary of the Most High. We are separate. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We are not affiliated with the Christian church. We are not affiliated with the Muslim mosque, because this type of behavior right here, we cannot fathom that.
Right.
This is something we can't even, you know, the thought of it alone. In the Christian church, that's fine. You know, that's what happened in the Christian church. So what did he do? He turned the house of the Lord to a Christian church.
Right.
Let's keep on reading. Verse 6, and he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also he observed times and used enchantment and used witchcraft and dealt with a familiar spirit and with wizards. He wrought much evil. Basically what you are seeing in the conscious community today. In the conscious community, you have, you know, people that worship Kabbalah. You have the numerologists. You have the astrologers. You know, you have people that tells you they could speak to your grandma for you.
Right.
You know, just come, my child. I'm gonna speak to your grandmother. Do you have a picture of your grandma? Do you have a picture of your grandfather? This is all witchcraft, man.
Right.
He wrought much evil in the sight of the Most High to provoke him to anger. Verse 7, and he set a carved image, the idol which he had made in the house of God, of which God has said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen before all the tribe of Israel, will I put my name forever. Verse 8, neither will I anymore remove the foot of Israel from out of the land which I have appointed for your fathers. But this comes with a condition, because love is conditional. Contrary to what we learn in the Christian church and in the world, we learn that love is unconditional. There's no such thing as unconditional love. There's condition to love. And the Most High told us, like he said to David and to Solomon, I'm not going to move power from you, but you got to serve me. The same way with your children. That doesn't mean you don't love your children no more, but that is love. There's condition to that. I'm not going to reward you when you are sinning. I'm not going to reward you when you are not doing your homework. I'm not going to reward you when you're not cleaning up your room, right? That's what you do to your children. Well, it's the same way. The Most High is not going to reward us when we're not doing our homework. When we're not saying, nah, we can't have this carved image here because the law says this. This is what the law of Moses said, and we cannot do that. We're not doing our homework. All right, so therefore, we get destroyed. Middle of verse 8, so that they will take heed to do all that I have commanded them according to the whole law and the statutes and the ordinances by the hand of Moses, what I just said, right? So that came with a condition, right? In verse 8, when the Most High said, neither will I anymore remove the foot of Israel from out of the land which I have appointed for your fathers. We were not supposed to be moved from Jerusalem. It's not supposed to be them bastards over there in our land. That was never supposed to happen. Why? Because the Most High said it. The Most High said it was not going to happen. But why? Why would it not happen? So that they will take heed to do all that I had commanded. Did we do all that the Most High commanded according to the law of Moses, according to the ordinances by the hand of Moses? No, we did not. Therefore, we got removed from our land. Therefore, we are now in a strange land under a strange people, under pedophiles. Pedophiles are ruling us now because of this. Verse 9. So Manasseh made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err and to do worse than the heathen, whom the Lord had destroyed before the children of Israel. And this is one thing, man. When we do something, right? When Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, when we do something, we do it to a great extent. We are the best at whatever we do. So when we play basketball, we're gonna be the greatest basketball player. Right. When we do music, we're gonna be the greatest musicians. When we are priests and prophets, we are going to be the greatest priests and prophets. Right. And when we want to choose to be homosexual, guess what? We're gonna be worse than these natural homosexuals, than these Africans, than these Edomites, these Caucasians. We did it worse than the heathen. Right. Because we are so great of a people. And when we err, like the verse said, Manasseh caused the children of Jerusalem to err. When we err in a great, exceeding way that is worse than what the heathens are doing. You know, because we take it to another level. We look at the oppressor take homosexuality to another level, and then we're gonna put our culture on it. Right. We're gonna mix it with our culture. Like right now, they're mixing the LGBT with the Black Lives Matter. We're gonna mix our culture with this disgusting, filthy philosophy, filthy way of life. And this is why the scripture says, what did we do? And the inhabitants of Jerusalem to error and to do worse than the heathen, whom the Lord had destroyed before the children of Israel. Verse 10, which is the last verse? Verse 10. So verse 10 come. And the Lord spake to Manasseh and to his people, but they would not hearken. All right, the Lord spake to Manasseh by the mouth of his prophets, the same way that the Most High is speaking with you today, who's sitting on your couch, watching the Isupk, smoking a blunt, saying, yeah, man, this is heavy what this brother is saying. But you're not taking that blunt out your mouth. The Most High is speaking to his prophets. And the Most High spake to Manasseh to his prophets. All right, next week we're going to continue from 2 Chronicles chapter 33, verse 11. All right, and we're going to see what happened to Manasseh. All right, with that, my jump up here. Baba Kashar. So, can you rinse this for me real quick? Come on, come. I saw that bastards on this. Next week we're picking up from 2 Chronicles chapter 33, verse 11. All right, and we're gonna keep on reading about our history, because this book right here, this is our record, and as a people we need to read these. You need to read this book. Make it a habit for you to grab your scriptures, read Chronicles, read Numbers, read about your history, because this is Black history, right? The Bible is Black history. All right? That, support, which means on. La Yasharala, which means to Israel. Again. Christ, man, woman of Israel, Amajam, which means to stand. Saw upon Yahakwadam, which means turn and face the east. We sang the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakufka, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Nakam, Ka, Yawam, Basalakanawa, Kawawafyanawa, Kasalakanawa, Kawawafyanawa, Wala'ah, Tabayai now, Barasaya one, Abba, Hawashai now, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa Allah, Wa Tapara, La Iwalamia, Aman, in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So be it. Akkad, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Baba Kasha, the thunder now. Akkad, Larapa'ah, Kamakala, Kamadawa. Akkad, Lata'ah, Kamatazariah, Akkad, Lahakoyam, Hamathiam, Akkad, Hawakara, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Bawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it. Psalm 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahahoya, Mahayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayim, Ra'aratazah, Ayatan, Yamawat, Magorka, Ayanawam, Shamorka, Hanala'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamor, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamorka, Yahweh, Tazorka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Ashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Rayarak, Balayallah, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makar Rai, Yashamar, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Wabawaka, Ma'aitha, Wa'ait I will love. I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth, even forevermore. Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Adamayalaka,
Alta Karash, Alta Shakwat, Kayahana, Abayadika, Yahama Yawan, Wamashana Yaka, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, Al Imaka, Ya'ira Yumwa, Sawad, Wayata Ya'aita Zawa, Wayat, Kaya Aita Zawa, Alta Zapawanyaka, Amawa, Lakawa, Wanakakida, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazaka, Sham Yasharal, Aiwa, Kaya, Nawa Aita Zawa, La, Yakarwa, Al Yaka, Lara'a, Yakarafwa, Ahoya, Adawan, Waya Shama, Waya Shamai Layam, Mawa'aba, Wahagoyam, Gabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Halashat, Ain Yashabi, Tazawa, Gamashawa, Nalawa, Aiman, Hayawa, Zawai, Labanya Lawa, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadia, Kasaya Sara'a, Kasaya Sara'a, Hayabia, Banakar, Kwayashwan, Nashamadwa, Bayan the Ara, Hayawa, Daman, La Adama, Shayatamwa, Nadayamawa, Kaira, Wakaza Abba, Wakaza Bak, Wakata Zalmana, Hanasa Yakamwa, Ashar, Amawa, Nayara Shah, Lanawa, Na'awa, Al Hayam, Al Hayat, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, La Panya Raka, Ka'ash, Taba'ira Ya'ira, Wakalahaba, Talahat, Haryam, Kantara Datma, Basa Iraka, Wabasa Wapaka, Tabahalam, Mala'ah, Panyaham, Palawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Wayaba'awa, Ayai, Wayakapawa, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kaya, Athla, Shamka, Yahawah, Labadka, Ayawan, Al-Kaha Arakaza. Keep not thy silence, O my power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O my power. For Lord, thy enemies make it tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They have confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarene, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Esau also is joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisa, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zahar. Yea, all their princes, as Zabah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power of possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth for wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O my power, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that man may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High, over all the earth. Blessing in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazabia.
Matazabia.
Alawak Yahana.
Alawak Yahana.
Ha Alawakium.
Ha Alawak.
Ha Saranyam.
Ha Saranyam.
Ha Katazayanyam.
Katazayanyam.
Ha Kayayanyam.
Ha Kayayanyam.
Wa Ha Aquathium.
Ha Aquathium.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahushua.
Tawada Aman.
Tawada Aman.
In the English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahweh.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commander General Yohana. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Bless Israel. Yahweh. Ba'ashem
Yahweh.
Yahushua.
Hashem Yahushua.
Barak Lanawa.
Barak Lanawa.
Wa Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Wahabayah.
Wahabayah.
Saparium. Barak.
Barak.
Rafa'ah.
Barak.
Magun. Hagun. Yasharala. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Tawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
Bless us.
Bless us.
And Israel. And the school.
And the school.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Israel. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
I actually begin curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and
King
earth,
of heaven and earth.
and all things
And
living.
all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahushua.
listen to us now,
Listen to us now.
right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses,
Send evils and curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the heathen
To the heathen.
that speak against
That
us,
speak against
thy
us.
prophets,
Thy prophets.
the teachers,
The teachers.
the princes,
The princes.
the priests,
The priests.
the Israelite brothers,
The Israelite
and
brothers.
the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses,
Send evils and
and
curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the heathen,
To the heathen.
and shake loose the treasure
Shake loose the treasure
of the rich of Israel
of the rich of Israel.
that refuse to give to the
Who
school.
refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches
Force their
to
riches.
enter into thy sanctuary.
Into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and
Send
curses,
evils and curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the Edomites,
To the Edomites.
and the nations,
And the nation.
and their drug
And
dealers,
their drug dealers.
the court system,
Court
the
system.
prison system,
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood.
all the governments of our enemies,
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church.
the Pope,
The Pope.
Islam,
Islam.
Christianity,
Christianity.
Egyptology,
Egyptology.
militia,
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation.
skinheads,
Skinheads.
Posse Kamatazi, the
Posse
gay
Kamatazi.
movement,
The gay movement.
the lesbian
The
movement,
lesbian movement.
spies,
Spies.
workers of witchcraft,
Workers of witchcraft.
Nassau Space
That's
Movement,
our space movement.
Army,
Armies.
Navy,
Navy.
Air Force,
Air Force.
Marines,
Marine.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet
Open up the
and
internet.
the airwaves,
And the airways.
cable access channels,
Cable access
and the
channel.
radio channels.
Radio channel.
Convict the spirit
Convict the
of
spirit.
any of our people
Many of our people
that seek to stop us,
that seek to stop us.
and bring swift destruction
And brings
to
destruction
all the heathen
to all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way.
trying to stop us
Trying to stop
from broadcasting your word
broadcasting your word.
throughout the planet Earth.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues,
Let loose all the
cause
plagues.
them to go to and fro
Cause them to go to and
to
fro.
the earth
To the earth.
and consume them.
And consume
Let
them.
the plagues
Let the plague
shake the house of the thief
shake the house of the
and the
thief
murderer.
and the murderer.
Let Yahushua,
Let Yahweh,
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel
come down with the flying
come
saucers
down with the flying
and
saucers
punish all the heathens
punish all the heathen
that come up against
that
us
come up against us
as we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all
Cause it to be known by all
that it is the angels that have done
that
it.
it's the angels that have done
Cause
it.
it to be spread through the media
Cause it to be spread through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause it to shake at thy coming.
Cause it to shake that thing.
In the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahushua.
thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
So choose to turn. And of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. And of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam. Yachmatah, dismiss. Son of Christ. 2 Chronicles 33:10.